The Birds are back in Kelly Green, but a key defender might not be, giving this comeback story kid a chance to earn his starting spot back on the outside. Plus, here why Zach Bond thinks Jacksonville is no team to sleep on, and why A.J. Brown could be gearing up for his biggest day yet. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. The Eagles are back home at the Link on Sunday for their first game in Philadelphia since this awesome 3-game win streak actually started versus Cleveland. This time, though, with a matchup against a familiar friend turned foe in Doug Peterson's Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, this is not the first time Dougie P has come back to Philadelphia on the opposite sideline. It'll be the one where the Birds are significantly favorited following, again, 3 straight very impressive wins that have brought back even the most anti-Eagle media pundits around the national landscape. So as usual, let's do our guest Jalen Hurts' stats to win a Thomas Mott Show t-shirt by going down below in the comment section right now. Give me Jalen Hurts' passing yards, touchdowns, and interceptions. Get it dead on, and I'll send one of you guys one of my Thomas Mott Show official t-shirts. The big story this week is the continued absence of Darius Slay, who missed all of the Birds practices and also did not practice on Friday, basically guaranteeing his absence from Sunday's scuffle with the Cats. Slay has statistically been pretty impressive this year, despite some outrage from some Eagle fans early on in the year, aka myself, but a big reason why the Birds secondary really has started to find its stride. One tough groin injury later, suffered last week by Darius Slay against the Bengals, and Eagles Nation now eagerly awaits the debut of Isaiah Rodgers in a starting role opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Not only did Rodgers make the play of the game in the fourth quarter last week versus Jamar Chase of all people, but everyone forgets he was the starting cornerback opposite of Slay for nearly all of training camp until Quinyon stole a spot and really the hearts of every Eagle fan. And with Slay likely playing probably his final year in Philadelphia, this is a massive opportunity for Isaiah Rodgers to show the coaching staff, the front office, and Eagle fans that he deserves a long-term extension to be the Eagles starting cornerback in 2025. Now lucky for Zay, the Jaguars really don't present nearly as scary of a quarterback-wide receiver duo as Burrow and Chase did last week, but Rodgers and the Birds secondary will need to deal with the rookie sensation in Brian Thomas Jr., whose 573 rookie receiving yards leads the entire 2024 class and will present at least his fair share of challenges. In fact, Thomas has a touchdown in 4 of the last 5 games the Jaguars have played, and this now comes with Christian Kirk officially missing the remainder of the season, pointing all major eyes back to the rookie to create enough plays to keep the Jaguars in this one. Still, a 2-win Jaguars team missing Christian Kirk and relying on a rookie at wide receiver, they still are pretty dangerous as at least 2-win teams go. They have a solid quarterback, a desperate enough head coach, and a defensive line absolutely loaded with pass rushers. Upset alert, honestly, as we always say, can happen at any point in the National Football League season. This one feels a little extra important. You gotta go in with a sign of respect, as Eagles linebacker Zach Bond explained earlier this week.
I mean, this is a good football team. They're just like the Bengals. Their record doesn't really indicate that they're decent, but this is a good quarterback, good wide receivers, good offense, and yeah, there's some challenges that come with it.
Still, the defense, I don't think has to be that worried. Like, yes, the Jaguars have talent. We just explained that, but they failed to score more than 20 points 5 times this season, giving BG confidence in the young group of Eagle defenders to stay the course and keep things heading in the right direction one game at a time.
No, I think it's just more about believing in it every week, and you got to make sure that you keep the young guys believing in the dream. I always say, like, look, at the end of the day, you got to stay with it, because you see we started off good, then we had a little bumps in there, and then now I feel like a lot of guys it's just like it's finally hitting, it's finally showing up, man. Just even the young guys like Coop and Q, you know, seeing them make plays and just seeing, like, you know, some of the vets going out there doing their thing and playing, and Kobe, you know, letting them know, at linebacker, him and Zach. I mean, I think it's a lot of people got stuff to prove, and I'm happy that everybody, you know, didn't give up on it when it got hard.
Turning over to the Birds offense, Devontae Smith did not practice on Friday. Kind of odd, but he was obviously the hero of last week's big win over the Bengals and did practice all week, and so he should be good to go. Again, if something changes, I'll tell you. My guess is he'd love to be out there just simply due to the fact that this is the 2nd worst pass defense in terms of yards per game in the entire league. It's a Jacksonville Jaguars defense that gave up, 300 passing yards to Joe Flacco and 4 passing touchdowns to rookie Caleb Williams. And with Jalen Hurts and company coming off their best offensive performance in what feels like over a year, all A.J. Brown and company are hoping for is that the unit continues to play together and feed off of each other's energy.
I think just playing complementary football. I don't think it's just one side. You know, I think both sides kind of got the ball rolling, and special team got the ball rolling, and just taking advantage of opportunities, you know, and just finishing drives, and we're going to try to do our best to keep that going. We're going to continue to work hard and keep chipping away.
Still, though, we don't want to overlook this football team. I know we have the Cowboys coming up and the Commanders coming up, 2 massive divisional games, one of which I'll be at on Thursday Night Football. Still, though, myself and Josh Davis, as we explained in our live show earlier this week, have respect for the Jaguars, but it should be a game Philadelphia dominates at least early and often. I don't think I would call the Jacksonville Jaguars a trap game. I don't know if we're at that point, right? They're still a very good football team, but we're at the part in the season where you know what the Jacksonville Jaguars are. It's not like they've had like a bunch of really close, like, oh, they're actually a really great football team. They're really not, right? They're close games coming against like the Miami Dolphins, and then the Packers had to lose Jordan Love. They're still good. We're going to respect them. Trevor Lawrence could pop off, sure, but this does feel like one of those, like the Titan game in 2022, right? Like the Steeler game in 2022. Probably more like the Steeler game because the Steeler defense was better. Their offense was kind of the problem. But it feels like one of those games where the Eagles can kind of flex their muscles and, pull out a nice lead, be comfortable, and kind of show the rest of the National Football League, again, hey, 4th win in a row, another double-digit win, 3rd in a row. We're humming on all cylinders right now, and you should definitely beware.
Yeah, we should take care of business. It is the NFL, so we all understand that. And there's instances where it doesn't really quite make sense of a team winning when heck, we take a look at last week. Even it's like, well, hey, Cleveland knocking off Baltimore. I don't think that many people saw that one coming. Jameis Magic, it is a thing, but still, like, Baltimore was looking unbeatable, and then all of a sudden something like that happens. But ultimately, yeah, this is one of those, you should take care of business. The only way, in my mind, is if you have some turnovers and they're clean with the football. Trevor Lawrence likes to get rid of it pretty quick, so they might try that type of game. But we still look back and say, this is not last year's defense. If it was, every quarterback would scare, because be like, well, okay, you're going to be able to get rid of the ball quick and first down and a million paper cuts to death. But it's not. It has changed, and Fangio's been more aggressive. He will send some blitzes. He'll have a little bit more press coverage. And so because of that, it doesn't make life as easy as it traditionally would. And then all of a sudden, if you get up, then, all bets are off, because it's like, all right, we're going to just go ahead and, pass rush, pin their ears back, pile up the sacks. This one could get, and I think should get ugly, fairly quick, like middle 3rd quarter. Maybe they're hanging on. Maybe it's not until the 4th quarter, but ultimately, you look at the talent on paper. Jacksonville, like I mentioned a second ago, they traded away their starting left tackle. Like, if you want to do anything, you don't trade away your starting lineman in the middle of a season. So it's kind of like, look, we're tanking, not fully officially making that statement, but they're tanking. They're getting rid of those guys. Brian Thomas, limited practice, I think today. Obviously, Christian Kirk with the injury is out for 4 weeks or longer. And
that was the season. Didn't he break his collarbone?
Actually, yeah, maybe the season.
Yeah, I think he's out for the season.
And then there's also who is it? The 3rd string receiver is also limited with some sort of injury. I'm drawing a blank now. Who that is? Who's the 3rd string? They're down their top 3.
Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis. Yes, Gabe Davis.
Hall.
Yep. I got the Baylor on the mind with Siaki Iko being released.
That's fine.
But yes, Gabe is also, I believe he was limited as well today. So, as good as Trevor Lawrence potentially could play,
sure,
every once in a while, it feels like this should be like a, 30 to, if they take care of business like they should, like a 30 to 14 game, something like that.
Yep. I think I said 30 to 17. People were asking me in the chat as we were getting ready to get started here. That's my score prediction. And I always do it every single Saturday show. I ask my commenters to correctly predict yards, touchdowns, and picks for either Jalen Hurts or the opposing quarterback to see if they can win a t-shirt, just because we do a bunch of other giveaways. We don't have to predict something. So it's fun to have the challenge. And I think someone's going to get it. One guy was 2 yards off of Burrow this past week. And I was like, should I do it? And I was like, no, we're going to wait for someone to actually nail it, though it's a big deal. But this feels like a Trevor Lawrence, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He gets strip sacked as well. He throws for like 245, but it's still, like you mentioned, 30-17, 30-14. And the Eagles just start to roll a little bit here. And I think the defensive line is going to have a real chance to keep the sack totals going. That Bengal offensive line, and really Joe Burrow, you said it earlier, really good in the pocket at avoiding pressure. And you saw that the 3rd and 22 was a great example. He should have been sacked twice and then made a great play. And, Cooper DeJean went for him instead of covering tight end. And so, I think Lawrence is not as good as Joe Burrow, and especially not as good as an offensive line as the Bengals have built up there in Cincinnati. And so I'm hoping the pass rush can continue to kind of get better, because really you're seeing defensive linemen with confidence. Nolan Smith is playing, and you've talked about this a ton. Obviously, you're a Nolan Smith guy, with a ton of confidence. Moro Ojomo is playing with a ton of confidence. Shout out to Jordan Davis, watch some film on him. He's been really good in run-stopping situations. And I think that as Eagle fans, if we accept the fact that he is purely a run stopper on a limited pitch count and specifically run-stopping opportunities, he's been pretty good. And so overall, the confidence of those guys continues to build. And it's fun watching BG and each of his little, media scrums each and every week where he's kind of like the dad keeping all of his kids in line, right? He knows that he has talented kids. He knows these guys can hit home runs in Little League and, catch touchdowns in Pop Warner, but he's just got to get him pointed in the right direction. And he does that every single week, I think, in a really good way, and it's fun to watch. So I think they're going to have a really good chance to be good on Sunday.
For sure, yes. And, obviously, as he told us whenever he came on for an interview during the offseason when we had BG, but he was like, hey, look, I know people are saying Nolan hears it. All the Philly dogs, they hear it. But I'm telling you, specifically with Nolan, he's like, I'm telling you, this is going to be he's going to come out. He's going to be able to actually show something, get some sacks, the power, which we saw more of because he's put on some muscle, and we're starting to see a little bit of that. The power and speed blend hopefully can continue with that because as it gets a little bit more difficult tackles. But still, I mean, you love what you see so far. Troy was saying, yes, need Q to get me one. It's going to happen. We loved it at this point because he's had so many interception opportunities, but the fact that we have this youth movement on the defense and you're seeing some of that promise, like I understand it. We've gotten into this conversation, or you get different comments from people of an argument like, I was being critical of Nolan Smith, or I wasn't a hater. I was just criticizing the play. It's different to be critical is fine, but to say he's a bust after one season, to say he's a bust after week 1 or week 2 of this season, even it's like, I'm sorry. There's just so many other cases and points, even on our own team, let alone in the entire league, which you look at BG and go, maybe we just pump the brakes, maybe a little bit, because it's not like Nolan played a ridiculous amount of snaps last season too. So we're coming into it seeing, okay, does he change and make a difference? And I think finally we are, which is what we love to see. Super chat here from Shady. Speaking of, Shady is
Shay McCoy.
Shady Day from the Sunday's game. Kelly Green game is going to be Shady's at halftime. Unfortunately, not Sunday Night Football, but it'll still be Shady there. Appreciate the 10. Says non-biased. I look around the league and it's crazy. I think people really sleep on Philly, and people act like Week 1 win over Green Bay meant nothing. They beat the team when our team wasn't even playing good.
Pull up the standings, Josh. Give us the NFC conference standings whenever you or just throw them up there on the screen. Let's do this right now. And I saw a trade super chat. I think that was CJ Deacon. Excuse me. We'll get to that in a second. CJ, hold your thought. We'll get to trade. We talked about trade earlier. We'll talk about it in a second. But Josh is going to throw up the conference standings here. Look around the NFC conference right now. I mean, truly, there's one team lower than Philadelphia. As I'm looking at the ESPN one here, it's like Detroit, Commanders, Packers, Vikings, Eagles. Atlanta, to me, is a good football team. Philadelphia should have beaten Atlanta. Atlanta has the tiebreaker over the Eagles. That could matter in terms of playoff seeding for division winners. But besides Atlanta, there's nobody else below this belt that I think is a legit Super Bowl contender, right? And I think the Falcons are probably not a Super Bowl contender, but, they could go on a run in the playoffs. They have the personnel to do so, okay? Not the Cardinals. Bucks, to me, are going to be too injured and banged up. San Fran, are they going to have enough time to get healthy? I'm not buying into them. I think they're falling too far behind. The rest of these teams the same way. They'll be pesky. Cowboys, Rams, Seahawks, sure. But really, Detroit is in a class of their own. And then it's a 5-team cluster below it of the Commanders, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Falcons in Philadelphia. Now, Minnesota has, I think, a little bit of, what do you want to call it? Are they overrated? Did they belong there? They're kind of like the pick-me
It's the
team,
Sam Darnold
right?
factor is, I think, what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we buy
I don't
Sam
hate
Darnold?
I think he's been fine. I don't know if I buy that football team as being Super Bowl ready. What's right about that defense? That defense, I know it was Detroit, but it was like, and the Rams did a really good job passing on them as well. And so I think Philadelphia would match up fine with the Minnesota Vikings. I think the cornerback matchup there with those receivers would be really fun to watch. Yeah. Green Bay is good. Green Bay's not elite, Josh. And I know we beat them, but week 1 is so far behind. You almost just throw out week 1 altogether because we weren't at 100% in terms of where we are now. Packers are, trying to figure things out. I think Jordan Love is going to be, he's been basically injured every single week this year. He's gone off the football field. I think, again, they're good. They could be a problem, but that defense is not elite, and I don't think the offense has enough weapons to really scare you. And that leaves you with Washington and Detroit. And I think Washington's a good football team. We'll be at that game. The tickets that we're giving away. It's going to be a great matchup, both sides of Philadelphia. But rookie quarterbacks don't win Super Bowls, and that's for a reason. It's very hard to win multiple games in the postseason. And that brings you down to Detroit, where I think they would beat Philadelphia right now. But 10 weeks from now, in Philly, if you got lucky enough to be a higher seed than Detroit because they beat up on each other in the NFC North.
They could.
Who knows? Who knows? It feels
Very
like
possible.
2022, Niners, Eagles, we were on a clear trajectory. Right now, Eagles, Lions, clear trajectory for the NFC title game. But, what do I know? We're just a little biased.
Maybe. But again, we did make the comment beforehand. It's like, look, there are a lot of individuals who really don't have a dog in this fight. And they're saying, like, we would take the Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Like, those are the two teams that we would go with.
Yeah.
And so I think it does say something if coming away from the Bengals game, like, all right, this is the makings are there. Philly still has to do it. We all understand that. We're not crowning them yet. Nothing is happening.
Not at all.
But it's like the makings are there. You see the offense when they're going to be complex, and it makes the team so much more difficult to game plan for. Whereas beforehand, it would be like, well, this is way too easy because defensively, they're going to back off. They're going to give you the middle of the field anytime you want it. And then offensively, it's going to be from the gun 97% of the time. And if they do run, it'll be inside zone. So just guard inside zone. It won't be outside zone. It'll be inside zone. And then if they throw the football, it's basically going to be Jalen Hurts trying to one-on-one matchup, whether it's AJ or Smitty. And he's going to take one of those, and that's about it. It was so basic. And so now you have the difference of maybe it's motion, maybe it's Jalen under center, maybe it's in the gun, but then there's also a opportunity for Jalen to run the football, who's looking more aggressive to do that now, which is good. But then also the play action element that we've had, throwing over the middle of the field. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So you can't really say, oh, we're going to take away this one area because it's getting more complex. And I think as the season goes on, I just expect it to get even better because it's going to be more confidence. It's going to say, okay, cool, we're starting to master some of these concepts. Let's add in a few extra wrinkles, and the sky's the limit. So, I mean, again, I'm with you right there. I think ultimately there's only one juggernaut right now currently in the NFC, and that is Detroit, and understandably so because they have played really well. They've taken care of business. The onslaught that they've had, sure, but it is a long season, like you said. And so, we'll see. Come January, all bets are off. Like you take care of business, and they do beat up on each other because the NFC North is, objectively better than the NFC East. Maybe they have one extra loss in there, and all of a sudden Philly's got the home field advantage. I mean, I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances in the game. Who doesn't want that, obviously? But I think that there is a definite possibility. The talent that you have on this team could certainly stack up because, again, you're hoping too that these young defenders just continue to get better as the season goes on.
Right.
So all of a sudden you're playing Detroit, and you never know. You never know. I'm excited about the potential matchup.
I got plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks, including announcing the winner of the 2 tickets to the Commanders and Eagles game myself and Josh Davis are doing. We're going to announce that during halftime of the Eagles-Jaguars game on Sunday afternoon. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join us for that stream to see who officially wins it. Birds, I think they win comfortably 31-17, 30-17. Give me your take down below in the comment section. I'm Thomas Mott on a Saturday. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.